Holy shit. The new skill has passed on old school RuneScape. Now, we don't know what the actual new skill will be, but if we go over to Twitter, they just have tweeted a few minutes ago. The new skill's passed by 81% pretty much to 19%. In case you are wondering what I voted, I, as a joke, just voted skip question, so I'm one of those 786 people. Shout out to those people, bro. Now, we don't actually know what the new skill is going to be, obviously, but we are confirmed to get one 100%, I believe, unless all questions continue going forward and then we just don't agree on anything. I have no idea. Just get rid of this Netflix thing up here. Sorry, your mother was over earlier. All right. So if you were to ask me personally, I am definitely not angry a new skill is coming. I know there's a lot of back and forth, it seems like, on probably Reddit and Twitter about it, but I personally am not, like, angry about it. I'm not, like, crazy excited, because obviously we don't know what it's going to be yet, but I am just, like, content. I'm like, cool, new skill, kind of exciting. Let's see what happens. The interesting thing is that there's just so many possibilities for what we could have as a new skill in RS3. It seems like, for the most part, we are trying to maybe do something that is not any type of copy from RS3, but I'm also not against some RS3 things. Like, you know, Invention has been discussed a few times. Invention is an amazing skill for RS3. We kind of, in a sense, do have it for some things in this game. Just think about taking any type of armor and upgrading it to make it a bit more powerful. So Bandos to Torva, that's an upgrade. It could technically be like an Invention perk, but instead for us, it's just a proper upgrade. And if we are going to only have one skill in the game released, I do hope maybe it is a little bit helpful towards the economy. That would be kind of a beneficial thing, I think. But I'll stick with probably discussing maybe sailing, if that is possibility, one of the skills. It seems like a lot of people were discussing it, so let's go with that one. And I do hope that they release not just necessarily one idea for a skill, but maybe multiple ideas for one skill. Since it's going to be the only one we ever have, I wouldn't mind combining a whole bunch of the suggestions into one skill completely. I guess the three that I would probably have in mind would be sailing off to a different island. On that island, there's going to be a dungeon, which could be part of dungeoneering, sort of. It doesn't need to have keys or anything. But there's some kind of dungeon that you have to explore. There's tons of different islands. Every island has a different requirement to get to. Maybe like 80 sailing, 90 sailing, etc. Maybe even a 99 sailing island. That would be kind of interesting. So only people who have 99 will be there. Unless there's boosting. And then you would also possibly have something that you could add, the artisan skill, which artisan was basically a skilling way of training like slayer skills. So it's like, here's an assignment, go do it, but it has nothing to do with combat. So for example, maybe the island you go to has like defenses to protect itself or some shit, or I don't know, offensive stuff. And you get a contract around the island, and it's to maintain the island, upkeep the island, and maybe like reinforce things. So that could be sort of like the artisan part of it, or you would help with like, I don't know, the people on the island. So we need to remember, if we do release it with just like the intention of going into a dungeon, we might be neglecting all like level 3 accounts, for example. They probably just can't train the skill then. So are we going to make it purely just combat skill? Combat seems to do the most well in the game, but we could also probably expand it to letting level 3s train it, or just people who don't like combat in general. And of course, if we have dungeons on these islands, I mean, what's going to be in there? Is it going to be things you can kill for good drops, or just basic drops, or like what's it going to be? So there's so many possibilities what they could do. I mean, it could be obviously bosses in there that like would have good items coming into the game. That's a whole nother topic though to discuss, because that's about 10 plus new items that would probably enter the game. I'm definitely not set in stone with like any idea really. I mean, sailing I'm completely cool with, that's like the base idea, but it seems like we have to expand a whole lot more than just sailing to an island and then doing nothing there, and then sailing to a different island. There has to be something on these islands. Now, normally we don't really have a skill giving you like the new best in slot stuff for anything, so I'm going to assume we're probably not going to go the path where the dungeons that you raid have like new best in slots, but what they could possibly have maybe is like things to help you aid the actual islands that you like go to. Maybe it'll make it quicker. The dungeon could be quicker. Kind of like the Karis Partisan maybe. It's pretty huge in TOA, but outside of TOA, only one of them is useful. The yellow one does not work outside because it'd be way too powerful. So maybe that could be kind of the invention part of the skill, maybe, where you collect components from every different island that you travel to, low tier and high tier, and you combine them together to make a weapon that maybe helps you do the raids quicker, the dungeons quicker. So that could always be a possibility. And I guess the real question is, when you make this armor or weapons, are they tradable, or are they just literally non-tradable and you get them as you go and You could almost view them as like a keepsake for dungeoneering. You would normally keepsake like a good two-hander weapon or a hex hunter bow. It's kind of what these weapons would ideally be. Or it could give you maybe some kind of PVM item that helps you a little bit like an aid in combat. Sort of like, I don't know, you gotta kill 50 Vorkath to get a Vorkath backpack. That is the best in slot in many places in the game for combat, if you're doing range. Maybe something you get from these islands is also very similar to something like that. A very small boost, but you have to do sailing and get to a high level to obtain this item, and it will increase your DPS just a little bit, but the only way to obtain it is by having a high sailing level maybe. So, you know, make it non-tradable I guess in that case, but that could be a possibility. Now, of course, this video is kind of a discussion, so whatever you guys think would be a great idea, go ahead and leave a comment below. Just don't make it like fucking 50 paragraphs, alright bro? Part of me has no issue with this skill being something that we haven't ever even discussed yet. So no artisan, no this, no that. Just literally brand fucking new, bro. And that'd be kind of interesting on its own. I have a pretty good amount of faith that Jax will do a pretty good job on this skill because they know that they're in for a lot of work, honestly, to make sure that this does well and passes. But probably some very small key points to keep in mind would most likely be make sure it's accessible to like all account builds probably. So level 3s, level 1 defenses. Don't fucking lock it behind like defense XP or something. And probably I would suggest not making it like a buyable skill. I think when the skill becomes just a buyable, you just throw money at it and you get 99. Kind of loses the touch of what a real skill should kind of be. So I would hope it's not something like a buyable. Today's video is sponsored by Yahaha. This is a new UGC. Don't Google what that stands for, I'll tell you what it is. It stands for User Generated Content. I know this because I Googled it. It's a platform for 3D multiplayer interactive experience, kind of like old school RuneScape. Anyone can create and publish their virtual experiences with no coding experience at all. So even someone as unskilled as me can do this. Simply use cool features and components with smart assets in Yaha Studio to remake your dream games. And I guess I'll just remake RuneScape if it ever goes down. It's so easy I was even able to start my own game. I first went to the templates and clicked on hide and seek option. On the top right, click on asset library, click on components, and I picked behavior player transformations and I added a card to my assets. I picked a 3D asset, click view scene, and here's my little dog. If you want him, like this video. And last I went to gameplay setup on the right. Click on more and then add component button. I pretty much made it so I can hide and turn right into this dog and I can pretty much win the game. Now, if learning something seems like a difficult task to do on your own, Yaha hosts a regular live event on Twitch with live sessions for the community, helping the creators enhance their metaverse building skills. Follow them on Twitch or check out their YouTube channel. Download Yaha Studio today. You can bring your creative side out and start your journey. Download it from my link in the description or just scan the QR code on the screen. Right, and the other skill that they mentioned a long time ago was warding. Now, I was not really a big fan of warding. It might have fit in like when the game first came out or something, but warding seemed kind of just like a crafting skill expansion, which they could literally just add that to crafting. Like you can just add crafting expansion and just call it warding expansion pretty much. So I wasn't really for it. Now, maybe I didn't fully understand it, but it just seemed like you craft yourself some like armor or armor upgrades or like new armor. I mean, maybe like in the original RuneScape, kind of like how you're supposed to smith yourself armor, but that armor is not good, obviously. So, I mean, they could add something with a mixture of warding in there. Maybe whatever you're killing inside the dungeons give you something that you can craft into armor. So that could always be another aspect of it. But I really am not against them adding all the suggestions that we've kind of had, or at least the popular ones, all into one skill, because I think that'd be kind of a unique idea since, I mean, it's not like everyone's 50-50 on every skill, but everyone does seem to like this skill and that skill, and I think if we could make it work where we stick a lot of them together, it'd be kind of cool. Oh, and of course, sailing is very similar to dungeoneering, which is probably why the thumbnail will have like a dungeoneering icon as well on it, I'd imagine. I mean, you're raiding a dungeon pretty much. I mean, you know, it is dungeoneering. But then again, so is like any raid really is dungeoneering kind of. It really was like a boss, but just not as high quality as most bosses are. But it was a very nice skill and very nice minigame, if you want to call it that. I definitely do enjoy AlkanRs 3. I wouldn't necessarily vote yes to strictly just dungeoneering being in the game, but a mixture of dungeoneering being in the new skill, I'd probably be definitely for. I'm assuming it's not going to be a viable skill in terms of like, let's just say prayers are viable, herblores are viable. Now, obviously as an Iron Man, it's a little bit different, but you kind of get the gist of it. Now, if it requires items or something like that, like maybe like construction type of thing, then okay, but I'm really hoping it's not just something you just put a whole bunch of GP into and then you get it to 200 mil or 99. That just is never really fun. It's not, I mean, it kind of just ruins the skill sometimes when it comes out. It's a lot more excitement to it when it has less to do with money, because then everyone's just spending money on a skill and that's pretty much it. So it's gonna probably be one of the first times they actually do have to like create a new skill, with keeping in mind that like a good portion of the community is obviously like type of pures and whatnot, a level 3 skiller type of pure as well, and then obviously Iron Man mode. Now, normally you would think like, well, you know, you shouldn't design it based around Iron Man, obviously, which I do agree with, but I also agree that a good portion of the community nowadays is Iron Man as well, so to fully exclude them would be a little bit crazy, but hey, it is what it is. So for example, like, let's just say the new skill required a ton of dragon, like arrows and darts. Those two items are very hard to come by on an Iron Man account. But because motherfuckers bought this game, it's very easy to get them on a main account. They're not worth much because botters supply every main account with whatever supplies they want. That's why your shit's cheap, by the way. It's not because it's just cheap. It's because you guys have botters, and obviously Iron Man, there isn't really like a botting fucking economy for Iron Man. And if there is, they're probably banned for botting. So if it's something like that, obviously, it really wouldn't work out too well. I could only imagine how difficult that would be to train. I mean, hey, I guess if you want to make it as difficult as possible, but it's gonna have to be a skill that they have to keep in mind, probably, that like it needs to be somewhat sustainable to train as an Iron Man account. Now you can make it a much cheaper method, obviously, like a slower and cheaper method, I guess, for the Iron Man to train, and then obviously more expensive for the main and much faster for the main. So you know, let's just say you had to chop your own logs. We get logs these days from Kingdom, but if you had to chop your own logs, turn them into planks, that's like an extra route an Iron Man has to take normally anyway, so there's nothing against that. But if there was no trees to chop those logs, then it'd be impossible to get the logs, obviously. So you have to like freaking, I don't know, go kill Mole for a bunch of U logs or some shit. So definitely will be a bit interesting thinking of how they're going to kind of design this, because I do think they are going to keep Iron Man in mind with a lot of these updates. So yeah, that might change like the course of what they maybe wanted to do, but they gotta do it a little bit differently. Who knows? Just because it needs to be sustainable for like all game modes, I guess. Like, invention on release on RS3 was pretty much just break down the most expensive shit and like get the most out of it. But I mean, I guess you could have broke down cheaper stuff, but the XP rates were quite a bit different, I believe. So yeah, I'm hoping it's not something like a buyable, not something like agility though. I mean, definitely not no agility, but you know, requiring no items I'm not completely against. I mean, besides maybe armor, if these dungeons are going to be dungeons where you have to bring gear with you. Now, something else they did discuss a little while ago in the summit was the new prayer book, I believe, which that one has me wondering, because that is a pretty big update. Now, there's no pull for it yet, obviously. The only pull we've had since the summit is pretty much the new skill one. I'm assuming that's probably the best one to start off with, just due to the fact that it will take the most time. So it's good to know that it's passed at least, and they can start kind of taking ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, there's going to be a new prayer book in the future that is going to be pretty much for skilling by the looks of it. This is something that RS3 does actually also have a long time ago. Just kind of boosts skills XP per hour a little bit, makes it a bit easier, and maybe even more AFK. I'm not really too sure about that though, but that one to me is intriguing. It could be extremely overpowered, which I don't think they would personally do. But there's definitely a lot of ideas I'm pretty sure in the future we'll have. One idea I did like on RS3 was a superheat form one. Pretty much when you have the prayer on, you like click on a rock, and after you get it, it like superheats it for you. So it's almost like, yeah, it's pretty big. Obviously, maybe on old school it'd require a nature rune or something like that, but that's kind of like a prayer that they have on the RS3 game. So you would mine the rock, and you would get it in the bar form, I guess. So if you mine gold ore, it just comes in a gold bar instead. Also did touch up on Bounty Hunter, which is something I'm obviously not gonna like do much myself, but I am excited for. Bounty Hunter, the craters at least, like the original actual Bounty Hunter with the craters where you go in and you fucking like, I remember you like couldn't leave right away if you got like loot or something. I think I actually got hacked way back in the day when Bounty Hunter came out. You actually like could transfer money over to a different account, but I think you had to survive in there. So I think that's how the hackers got me. There was no like free trade, but you could still kind of kill people. It was a weird time, I'm pretty sure, but you would like go in there, kill the person with a bunch of money, then you'd have to like survive for like a few minutes before you can leave, I think. I don't know if they're going to have all the original ideas that like Bounty Hunter already had back in the day, but I am happy to see the craters are back. That is most likely a huge update for PKers. It has given them a great like little small area to go into that's gonna obviously like be in the wildy, I'd imagine. Even though it's not really in the wildy, you could put it anywhere on the map realistically, which is what's funny about the whole wilderness thing, is like you really kind of can. It's almost like a mini game if you want to look at it that way. Not much different than like LMS, for example, but I'm assuming it might be around the same area it was back in the day. There was a teleport to the games necklace, I believe. So I'm assuming, or a skill necklace maybe. So I don't know if they're going to do the same thing or not, but I'm happy to hear that the bounty hunters are coming back. There might be some collection log stuff there to do. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. I think they did mention it, but they're gonna not make it like so extremely difficult to do, which would probably be a smart idea. I'm not like against them doing that. Just don't make it like a fucking 1,000 wins or some shit, because then that would be kind of boostable probably. The other thing that we're going to be releasing was kind of like game modes for like the high scores, I believe, or like official game modes. Not like a brand new game mode. I mean, I guess you could create a new one, but I believe if your account currently follows those rules, it'll be included into that game mode. So let's just say if you were technically playing as an Iron Man before. Okay, that's not a great example because you can always just trade each other's stuff. But if you have like a one defense account, you might be on like a brand new high score. You'll still be on the old one, I'm pretty sure, but you'll find yourself on a new high score that has like one defense only accounts on it. So that update I was definitely scared of originally because they mentioned hit points being a possibility. Now I think they did release something recently on Twitter that said they are probably taking that away, the HP thing at least. It seems like there's a lot of loopholes around the 10 HP thing. It does not seem like a good long-term thing to have in the game, because pretty much then you just don't train your HP. You friggin' get 99 strength and attack or some shit, and then you go and just rush people like crazy in the wildy and then teleport. So it looked like that was going to be a really unhealthy thing in the game. So I'm kind of happy they are removing that one. The rest of them seem kind of good. I think what they're going to be adding is pretty much like a one defense type of account build, whatever. Maybe a 45 defense and maybe a 7. I doubt they'll do a 71, like a Barrows Pier. That seems to be kind of like not so pure, honestly, but I guess we'll see. But I'm happy to see that. I mean, there's nothing against it that I would have as far as I'm aware. They've definitely been doing quite a few updates for like different types of builds, obviously, with like being able to return back to Apatol now, I think, without claiming the experience. I'm not against these updates at all. I just, yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, you restricted your account on purpose. But at the same time, I feel like there might be a bit of gatekeeping where you can just be like, well, you restricted yourself on purpose, so you had to live with it. It's like, does it affect anyone in the game in a negative way? Probably not. So is it really a bad idea? Maybe not. But that 10 HP shit was going to be pretty game-changing, because you just see a bunch of people walking around with 99 attack and strength with 10 hit points, and it wouldn't take like any time to actually get it either. So now what I'm not against, though, is the fact that you can, I think what this might make people do or be able to do is turn off defense training, which means if you're like a one defense peer, you can most likely use a lance to train like on dragons or something. Because lance, no matter what you do, it'll train defense XP, no matter what, it's shared XP or just purely defensive XP. So this might look a little interesting in the future. You're going to see some one defense accounts walking around with, you know, like a whip in their hand the whole time, or a friggin' whatever else just has like a Zami spear, maybe. Does that require defense? I'm not too sure. Zami has to, I forget. But pretty cool idea. I'm not really against that either. It's like whatever to me at this point, most likely. I'm not gonna gatekeep something like that. It just seems like whatever. If people want to have like a different type of account build to play on, as long as it doesn't interfere with the main game in any way or interfere with anything else, I'm not really against it. So if you want to have a lance on a fucking one defense account, I'm not really like against that. So I do think if the game was originally released like in this day and age, they would have probably added a game mode where you could like restrict defense training or something if you wish to, because it's like a negative. You're not supposed to, you're taking XP away from yourself. As long as you can't walk around in fucking full Torva as a one defense account, I don't really have anything against it, because at that point that seems a little bit too much for me. Fucking full Torva with one defense walking around, what the hell's the point of defense then? Oh, there is actually one more thing I completely forgot to add, and it's probably quite an important one. Well, not important to most of us, but to some people for sure. This might also unlock the ability to make like a free-to-play high scores. I believe they do have like some third-party free-to-play high scores. That was a lot of shit to say at once, bro. Where you can kind of see like where the rank ones are, but as far as I'm aware, Jax can look into it to see if your accounts ever became a member ever. And if it hasn't, I guess you would qualify for like the free-to-play account game mode or whatever it might be. And then obviously if it's an Iron Man or whatever, they could go on that high scores too. I'm not too sure, but does seem very interesting if that becomes a thing. We've never looked at free-to-play to be competitive because we've always viewed it as like, well, on the normal high scores, they're not a high rank, so it just doesn't look legit, you know what I mean? So I do wonder if this might make some people competitively play free-to-play more than they already are now, or play more hours than they already are. But I'd imagine it'd be pretty cool to have a high scores where, like, you're normally ranked 3 million on the high scores, but now you're rank 1 because it's only counting free-to-play skills, and you must also be free-to-play. So hopefully no accounts fall through the crack there, though, which would be very sad. If anything, they'd probably have to just like make an entirely brand new game mode at that point where it is free-to-play only, and you'll be on the free-to-play only high scores. But I think they probably can move it over if they can see the account's history and never becoming a member. That means never buying membership or using a bond, so that might be too much dev time in my opinion. I mean, I don't really know how this is going to work. They could possibly have it where you can like ask them to add you to the high score. See, that just seems a bit too strange, doesn't it? So maybe a possibility we'll have, but yeah, I wouldn't really mind that. It'd be kind of cool to see, because I know free-to-play like doesn't get much love. Neither should it, by the way. Don't ever do any updates for free-to-play. In fact, as far as I'm aware, most people that play free-to-play don't want any updates. I mean, I kind of wish the same for me, but I guess I've come accustomed to just having updates and make the game a little bit easier, so. Something else I'm hoping they remove in the future, realistically, is like combat level requirements for Slayer Masters. I find this to be kind of annoying. When you make like a new account, you can't ever use a good Slayer Master till you're like fucking 70 combat, which is, it just seems weird. I've never enjoyed that aspect of like making a new account, especially in Iron Man. So I'm hoping in the future they kind of look into this. Maybe you can like accept the fact that you might get like a high combat thing to kill if you like go to a Slayer Master you're not allowed to normally use. So I think it's like you can't get assigned something if your combat level is too low. So you could pretty much just do Slayer like a master that like won't assign you something because your combat's too low. But because there's this new update, you can use a Slayer master no matter, you know, whatever your combat level is. So as long as they might have to work something around there, but I'm hoping in the future that is also an update. It's not necessarily catered to like peers. I think it's mostly just catered towards new accounts that people make that aren't like stupid pretty much, because most people that have a new account, it's probably not their first account, as you know, RuneScape doesn't get new players. It just recycles the current ones that we have. So treat us well, JX. Just to quickly mention here, by the way, I'm going to be saying a bunch of things like group fires pretty soon. I think what I meant to say was the like woodcutting update, the forestry thing, but there is going to be fires that are like in it as well. So I'm going to probably be calling it group fires for a while, but it is the forestry update. They also mentioned something like group fires, pretty much. That seemed like interesting to me. It almost reminded me of like a bonfire. I swear they mentioned that you get like a small boost from like doing this group activity, which is kind of what a bonfire was, even though you can just like bonfire yourself up to like 5% hit points or some shit in RS3. Now, I don't think it'll be something like hit points boost. I doubt we'll ever get like a hit point boosting. In fact, I'm surprised we even have like anglerfish in the game. I know Bruise puts you over the 99 hit point cap, but I'm surprised they added anglers to the game, to be quite honest with you, because those are just literally rocktails, and I thought we were kind of like against like over HP boosting. I guess maybe it's more about the armor. Like, obviously, you know, Nex armors increase your hit points. You can eat more than like normal amount of hit points, but I guess we have the hit points ones. But yeah, group fires seems I'm not really against whatever it's going to be. I really don't know like anything about it. It just seemed very just like basic stuff, but I am hoping that they release a woodcutting method that's not too bad, that's maybe in between, because we are missing something in between teaks and redwoods. I think it seems like when most people get to 90 woodcutting, they hit up the redwoods to AFK. But there's not much in between. The most common question I'll probably get when it comes to the woodcutting skill is, what the fuck do I do till redwood? So I'm hoping the group fires thing kind of settles that for most people. I personally sometimes just AFK teaks or even U logs when I'm going for 90 woodcutting on like a new account or some shit. Because I mean, if I'm going to be AFKing anyways, I may as well do something like that. But I'm hoping that is a decent update that comes into the game to kind of get you through the like 70 to 90 woodcutting era. Make it maybe like 70 to 80k, maybe even, that seems a bit much, because Redwoods is like 70k, kind of like higher up 70k. I think it starts at like 60k or 55k, but I guess if it's not as AFK as Redwoods, I'm cool with it being like around 80k an hour, some shit from 70 to level 90 pretty much. Compare it to probably like volcanic mining. Volcanic mining is like 100k an hour almost in mining. And it's definitely not as intense as Granite, but it's definitely much more work than Load. Actually, some people would argue it's not as much work as Load, but either way, it's like a nice middle ground for having to go mad intense on mining, getting 120k an hour, or doing a chill method and getting like 20k an hour. So I think it'd be, oh my god, I'm gonna die these Addy Dragons, bro. I'm still trying to get the slice drop, but let me just teleport, get some food. And of course, how can we forget Desert Treasure 2? Definitely excited for this quest. I think it's really cool that we're doing quests that expand on the quests that we used to have in old school, like Monkey Madness 2, obviously Dragon Slayer 2, now we have Desert Treasure 2. Very happy with these like quests, and I don't like quests at all. I mean, no one likes doing quests, to be honest. I mean, sometimes they're okay, but doing them for the 20th time is never fun. But these ones I'm very happy. It seems very old school to expand on the ones that were created freaking 2005 or some shit. We can actually just go over a few of these things that they did mention on. I think this is just on like the main page pretty much. But first one's pretty much if it was the past. Second one is, I actually haven't read through this yet, so I might stumble a lot. And also I'm trying to freaking not die to these Addy Dragons. Desert Treasure 2 is Past, Fallen Empire, I guess is the actual name of it. It's added to the game. Should the 4 bosses encountered in the quest be unlocked as repeatable bosses upon quest completion? If this question passes, there will be a separate poll at the later date to determine the drops from these bosses. Okay, so this one I believe is, they're not actually talking about like redoable boss fights like you can refight Galvic in Dragon Slayer 2. This is actually bosses that you fought inside the quest. I'm assuming there'll be a higher tier version of them, and they will actually have drops. So I do believe it's been confirmed that we are going to have like 4 new bosses in the game coming from just this one quest. How high tier they're going to be, I have no idea, but that's coming out most likely. I don't think people vote no to this, so I'm assuming we'll get it. But that's a lot of like work to consider. Like, what are the bosses all going to do? What's the mechanics going to be? What's the friggin' drops going to be? That is a lot of thinking we have to do in the future. Of course, with something like Desert Treasure, which gave us the ancient spells, there's also going to be a new the prayer book that we talked about from this one. So kind of cool. It's going to give us just a little bit of everything. I believe this is the one that's going to be for the skilling aspect, pretty much. This quest unlock ruinous power. Is that what it's called? A new prayer book. So I'm assuming this is where the new prayers will be coming from. I always get like prayers and books, like, because prayer book and ancient book are like, it just gets kind of confused in those two. I do believe that the that new bow that everyone's been kind of talking about is going to be released from this quest here. I'm not sure what the name's going to be. It's somewhere here. I'm just a little bit too lazy to read it, but these are the requirements for it. I believe this was just technically a secret. I think we've all been wondering where this new bow is going to be coming from. I believe what it does, it attacks like multiple targets, almost like chins, but nowhere near as many targets. I think it's like 3 targets, they said, or something like that at once. So kind of like the ricochet ability, I guess, in RS3, but not the one that fucking expands to other things. So it just hits a few multiple targets in the area. So probably going to be niche. I don't really know. It's an interesting way to like see how far we can take armors and weapons in this game. I mean, you have a few that like, obviously we have like Scythe that hits 3 times or something. We have this and that. The distance with like a T-bow you have, or the Bofa. Now we have one where you can hit like a few targets at once, almost like a barrage spell or chin thing, but nowhere near as many. I don't think it's 9 targets. That's a lot, obviously, but. Yeah, so these are like the rewards right here, I think. I don't really know what all of them are. Is this Forgotten Brew the one that requires Blood Vial? Because if you have looked at the price of Blood Vials, they're like freaking 18k each or 16k each. I'm not sure if that's what this is going to be right here, but yeah, there's some kind of like potion that's supposed to be coming out. Wondering if that's the one. So here's pretty much the pure modes, or the whatever game modes that we were discussing. I do believe Skiller Pure will also be one of the options. I think I might have skipped over that. So if you are pretty much 10 HP, 1 defense, like a level 3 Skiller pretty much, I believe that if you meet those requirements, which kind of sucks if you have like an accidental like 2 defense or 1 attack or 2 attack or some shit. Because there's definitely some peers out there that probably do have like these weird like almost... I know they talked a long time ago about like negative XP lamps in case you make a mistake. I think probably due to coding, they probably couldn't do that. That was probably why. Which is why if they can't do something like that, I'm not against them making it so you can block XP gain. Now the XP gain thing for questing is definitely an interesting one. Can you block getting defense XP from a quest? Are we going to start seeing like piers in areas that we have never seen them before? That's definitely pretty, not game breaking, but just game changing, maybe in terms of like seeing piers just being able to travel the entire game pretty much. I do believe they'll have fairy rings unlocked, most likely, but I guess we'll see. So, wait, okay, what is this? One strength locked? What is all these advanced options? Okay, please don't make like 50 new game modes, Jax. Just make like a few, bro. Skiller Pier, 10 HP Pier is not going to happen anymore. No, it might still, actually. So yeah, Skiller Pier level 3 pretty much. 10 HP Pier, which I don't really like. Does that mean you can train attack, defense, and strength, but have 10 HP the whole time, I guess? Okay. I mean, there is one account that is like that. I think his name's like P in Bed or something like that. Pretty crazy account. And then I'm not sure what the bottom ones are, but like one attack lock, one strength. These are weird, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Do we want 50 million new high scores that are all very straight niche as fuck? Holy. Be like, bro, look me up on the high scores. Oh yeah, where? The pure mode. Oh yeah? Out of the 10 options, which one is you? The attack one, bro. The one attack or the 99 attack one, bro? No, the one attack one, dude. Oh yeah, okay, where should I look now? Look under the attack skill, bro. I'm rank 1. Fuck it up. I hope they don't make too many like game modes here or something like that, or like whatever. It's not really a game mode, because when you say game mode, you think of I'm saying it so much, it's starting to sound like game mode, bro. Okay, no homo though. I think like when you hear that, you think of like a new game mode is coming out that we would normally have, like Leagues or an Iron Man mode or some shit. It's definitely not either one of those. It's literally just fucking something that technically already exists. Let me just like minimize this a little bit. Not sure why I didn't do that earlier. That's my bad, bro. That's fine. No one's actually watching, right? If you're watching right now, like literally watching the screen, type of 1 in the chat, and then also stick your finger up your ass after that, okay? So yeah, hopefully they don't have all these game modes coming out on the high scores at least. I guess there's nothing against it. It's just kind of like, what are you gonna do next? A fucking high score for like who lives in like Canada and then US? That'd be kind of interesting, actually. I ain't gonna lie. But what about like what in US, like under each state? So we have 50 fucking whatever high scores new to like. So under the American flag, there's like one high score, then like 52 more. How many states is there? 52, 51, 50, something like that, bro. I thought it was 52, but it might be 50. Maybe that's including like territories and shit. Look, I'm not American, just so you know. Most of you don't even know, bitch. I googled it. It's 50, but I think that includes Hawaii and Alaska and Guam, I think. I think Guam is the one that's a territory, which is American, but it's like not anywhere near America or some shit. See, I like kind of know my shit, bro. As poll does say, if this question passes, there will be separate polls at later dates to determine specific features. So, yeah, pretty much, it just says, like, various skills. So, like, I don't really restrict their accounts in various skills. Alright, if you hit me up with, like, a 1 construction pier, bro, like, just literally leave Jax, okay? If you try to make a high scores with, like, 99 everything but 1 construction, just leave, bro, okay? We can't do that. Does this mean that Devious has to make 10 more new game modes to max all the game modes? You know what, Jax? Add 1 of everything, bro. I want a 1 attack pier, fucking 1 construction pier, 1 agility account. Dude, do it all, bro. Fucking ruin Devious's life. It's already been ruined. Well, that's pretty much like a small summary, somewhat of Winter Summit stuff. Yeah, I mean, I kind of glanced over everything, didn't I? I mean, there is like the link on the not the high scores, the main page. Came out December 10th if you want to like look for it. I think there's also like 10 million new videos out there if you want to go look at their YouTube channel, like the Old Schools channel. Every like skill here, or like poll, whatever, has like its own little thing, which I definitely didn't watch, and I probably should have. I'm gonna make a fucking video on it, bro. But that's okay. I mean, I watched most of this when it was live on Twitch, so I didn't miss too much of it. Forestry one was definitely just a bit of like a, probably kind of what you'd call like a filler kind of thing. Which is like pretty much when you don't have any big updates planned, you just put like little ones in there. And it seems like Forestry is like that type of filler pretty much. But hey, maybe I should watch the video and learn. Maybe there's much more to it, and I just didn't really understand exactly. But seemed a little bit like a community type of skilling thing and whatnot, which is, you know, whatever. I'm all for, bro. I play Iron Man. I want less people to interfere with me. Well, I guess on a video like this, let me know what your like preferred type of new skill would be, and I don't know, add all the friggin' details you want to it, I guess. I don't really care. I'll like read all the comments, or most of them, alright? If there's a comment saying how nice my dick is, I'll definitely read that and probably favorite it just for you, okay? But thank you for watching the semi-ramble today. I will be releasing a few new videos pretty soon, probably. One of them's going to be a bank video for the end of the year, which I'm sure no one's looking forward to. There's going to be... Is there a red dot on my fucking... Okay, never mind. There was on my screen, but I think it was a little something else. Probably going to release a video discussing goals maybe for 2023. Get a life, bro. And then maybe some kind of like hardcore Iron Man / collection log video. There was a collection log video released a few days ago. If you care to go watch it, you go for it. Currently just working on the adamant dragons where they drop the metal slice thing for the dragon kite shield, which is like 45 mil value. But thanks for watching. Take care. And yeah, let me know your opinion and thoughts on the new skill, bro.